Thank you all for tuning in. This is Selena and
Iman.
Together we make You Plus Happy. Each week we bring you someone who challenges us to define success and happiness on our own terms with a dose of laughter.
Remember to like and subscribe at You Plus Happy Podcast. You can also follow us on Instagram at You Plus Happy. Hey, Selena.
Hey.
Hey.
Howdy, people.
You're ready for the weekend.
My triple shot mocha is kicking in.
Finally, girl. How was your week? Anything you want to share with our listeners?
Yeah, it was good. Nothing like super fun to share. But if you get somebody something, it will make you so happy. I think I said this before, but I got somebody a piece of pie. I just saw a piece of pie that I knew they would like, and I gave it. I was getting my salmon, of course, and I saw the pie, and the person was so happy, and I was so happy that they were happy, and it just created this like really fun, light vibe. Mm-hmm. So, and sometimes like, we're so busy and like, you don't even think about it. Like just something small, a little piece of pie, it was nothing, and it just changed the whole day and the next day. Cause then the person told me how great it was.
Look at that. That's sweet. What kind of pie was it?
Pumpkin.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was fun. Oh, and I think I told you this. I let this older gentleman in front of me in line at the grocery store, and it was so crowded. He was so happy, and like he gave me $1. I told you about that, right?
No, you did not. Give you $1.
Well, the line was really long for self-checkout, like really long. Everyone had carts. And all he had was one little thing of donuts, like one thing. He was looking like, oh my God, like, I don't want to wait in this line for this. But I could tell he wanted those donuts. So I was like, you can get in front of me. And he was like, oh, thank you so much. Let me give you something. Come on. He pulled out $1. I was like, no, that's okay. I don't need it. But then at the register, as he was closing out, I walked up to the register because everybody was like in a rush. It was so crowded. He put the $1 on the register and like ran away and looked back at me like, ha ha ha. I was like, I got you. I was like, thank you.
So that's such a like grandpa thing to do too. I'm just gonna give you $1, baby.
Big balling. I was like, okay. So I was like, this is my lucky $1. So it was sweet. And I didn't know all that was gonna happen just by letting him in front of me. Like, it was a sweet moment. So yeah, just like little things, they can really make your day. Like simple little things.
Aww, that's good.
What about you?
Nothing exciting has really happened this week. I feel like it's gone by in a blur, but I've been listening to podcasts as I usually do. And one of the ones that I recently listened to was talking about just action. I'm very much in my head, you know me, like I think things through and I overthink things sometimes. So I'm trying to move away from that and just be like, all right, this is an idea. I'm just going to act on it. So I did that this week with someone that I won't go into details, but someone that I've been wanting to get a better, closer relationship with. And I've been thinking about it for a while and like, how do I go about doing this? And I bought them like this journal, like it's like a self-guided journal. And I like bought them that and I was like, hey, let's go through this together. And they're like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. So it was surprising because I thought there was going to be a little bit of pushback because there usually is. But I was just like, oh, I'm just going to go with it. And regardless of the response, like just take action. So that is my goal for the rest of the year. Just think about it, do it, and see what happens. So.
These 7 weeks we got left for the rest of the year. That's so cool.
Keep it in for the rest, like 2022. That's so crazy. We're almost in 2022.
I know.
But Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna find out who it is after the show. That'll be behind the scenes. Uh, so what are we doing this week? What are we doing?
This week we are changing it up a little bit. Gonna learn a little bit about the co-host of You Plus Happy. So we have some questions that we'll get into, dive deep, get a little bit vulnerable with our listeners,
And have
um,
fun, right?
and have fun. Yes, it's You Plus Happy, so we have to have fun. It's necessary.
Yeah, I'm not here if it's not fun. No, I don't want to do it.
All right. So our first question is, what do you wish you knew 10 years ago?
When was 10 years ago? Oh my God, that was 2011.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
2011 does not feel 10 years ago.
I know. Girl.
What the heck?
I know.
Where did I live in 2011? Oh, I lived in Philly. I don't know. I'm gonna have a better answer like tomorrow, but right now, um, I wish I just knew to move more strategically and more intentional instead of like kind of not coasting. Coasting's not the right word, but like just going kind of with whatever happens, like not just getting swayed any old way and not being like, this is this is the purpose, this is the point. What am I doing here? Um, and to be like confident and fearless,
Yeah.
which is something I still work on, but I have some pep talks inside of me that I can be like, all right, you got this right now. You got this. So yeah, I wish I was like, yeah, I wish I would have known confidence and fearless. Like you have to build on that. You have to work on it and you have to tap into it regularly. Well, I have to. It's not like you don't, I thought then that you just get something like that and then it's just there versus like,
Mm-hmm.
no, it fluctuates.
Yeah.
So I wish I had known that. And then like I would give up on stuff when the confidence went away. No, girl, you gotta tap into it again. It's like working out. You can't work out
Something.
once and then have muscles. That's not how the way it works. And even if you get the muscles, you got to keep working to keep them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just be more intentional and not waste so much time on dumb shit and like not waste so much time like at the pity party of me. Why is this like this? Girl, shut up. Let's go fix it. Shut the fuck up. I wish I would have known to shut the fuck up.
Okay. Noted. But it's like our guest said last week, just about, I forgot how she worded it, but she was talking about like the whole pity party and just, like going after what you want and putting that energy into the universe. And yeah, so
Yeah. And
yeah.
you just canceling the pity party early. I still have them, but like we said last week, my last pity party was but like under 60 seconds. It wasn't 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that's yeah, needs to be more, just makes more sense
Yeah.
instead of just living in that space.
I was thinking about that too. I'm like 10 years ago, 2011, I was in my second year of grad school. Um, I feel like I wish I would have known how important balance was for me back then, because I was so like up until I'd say 2013, I was so like I would get involved in one thing and just become uber focused and everything else was non-existent in my life. So yeah, I think that was the big thing, because there was a lot that had happened in that year that I wish I could have appreciated more. Like I had a really close friend of mine come and visit, but I was in grad school, so we barely hung out, even though she was coming to visit like me in LA. And I was just like, no, I got to do this. I got this paper. I got these deadlines. I was with my mom at the time and lived with her, but barely saw her barely spend time because I was just so focused. And I think that was just my mindset then. It was like, all right, reach this goal. What's the next one? And I realize now that balance is so important to me. Like I need to have these goals. I need to have fun. I need to build on these relationships because that's what keeps me sane. Because I wasn't happy in that space. It was just like go, 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 accomplish this, accomplish that. But that's like
Yeah. Someone I
doesn't give me
respect
meaning.
very much told me that a long time ago. Life is about balance. And I always
Mm-hmm.
think about that. And it's still a juggling act, right? But
Yeah.
at least you have that information. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Like he said that to me in a time where it just really sunk in. And I was like, okay. And I implemented that from there on out. I'm not saying I have the answers, but I'm saying that was something that somebody said to me that's really stuck. And that's one of the things I like about getting older. There's a lot I don't like about getting older, but how much wisdom you gain. Like 10 years ago, I was X years old and I was dumb. Like, and probably in 10 more years, I'll be like, oh, little Selena. Like, I do like that, all that wisdom that we gain in that time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's what it's about, is just growing from those experiences. Like my
Yeah.
mindset, just the way that I function day to day is so different from when I was, that age. We won't put it out there, but
I
10
don't
years ago.
know. I was 16. I was 16 years old.
Yes, exactly. 16 in grad school. Yes, that's what happened.
Because you were a genius. Anyway.
I mean, yeah, of course. All right. So switching gears, what was your first memory?
So it was my mom's wedding. And I remember like, I don't know when the exact memory, but I kind of remember like rehearsal. I was a flower girl, but like I don't kind of, but and I remember waiting in the back with my cousin. He was the ring bearer. I have trouble with R's. How do you
Bearer, I think. I don't know.
bearer? Ring bearer.
He was the one that brought the ring out.
He had the ring on the pillow for my mom. Bah, boom, there you go. So and we were in the back waiting. I was like, when are we going out? My cousin was being super chill, of course. That's his personality today. Mine is hyper, always has been. And I was like, when are we going out? Ready to slow these flowers? And they were like, oh, it's okay. We're going out, relax. All right. My cousin walked down there fine, down the aisle. I got to the front and I saw all those people. It was a huge wedding. It was at a huge church, like it was one of those mega churches. And I saw all those people. I was like, what? I'm not prepared for it. What the hell? The rehearsal is not this. Like, this is not, they didn't explain to me that people were going to be there. Rehearsal was like no humans, like, no audience or whatever, guests. And I started crying and everybody was looking, and my godmother got up and she came and said, come on, Lena, I got you. And I don't know what happened after that. I blacked back out. But
wait, how old were you?
I don't know, maybe 3 or 4. I wasn't older than 4. God, no, they got married at 8. Oh, I'm about to say my age. Ooh, child, they got married, 3 years from when I was born. So I was 3.
Okay.
I didn't like that. Maybe that's why I want to be an actress so bad. Because I'm like, I'm going to redeem myself, damn it. That's my first memory. All those people staring at me. It was so scary. And I'm not exaggerating. I saw, at 3, you might think it was a whole lot of people. I saw pictures. No, it was hundreds of people. Like, it was a huge wedding. My mom was big in the church back then. Child, don't give your 3-year-old this type of, 3-year-olds these days might be different.
To prepare them a little bit. Yes. That was overwhelming for any 3-year-old though.
Yeah, and I guess it depends I don't know how big your wedding is. Like, I don't know. And I was a big personality, so they probably thought I wasn't shy. So they probably were like, oh, she's good.
Got this.
I did not have it. Okay. All them people staring at me. The music was on. It was quiet. You can hear a pin drop outside of the music. Oh my God. I'm getting a little flustered thinking about it. What was yours?
Um, I was also young. I don't know how old. I might have been maybe 4, 5. But I've always, you know me, I've always loved animals. So I remember I was at like a pond, but it was a big one, and I was feeding the ducks, and I fell in, and I didn't know how to swim. So I remember like drowning basically, and I, for some reason in my head, it's a slow motion video, like whenever I think of it. And I remember seeing my older brother, who would have been maybe like 9 at the time, like running from across the pond, and he like took off his shirt. I don't know why he took off his shirt, but he like the Baywatch. I remember like him taking off his shirt and like running in slow motion towards me. It wasn't slow motion, but in my brain it was. And like jumping in and I guess saving me. And it's weird because like it was so traumatic, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. And I was like, oh, my brother is my hero. But then when I talked to my brother and my mom now, they're like, Iman, all you had to do was stand up. Like it wasn't that deep. But I'm like, no, it was over in my head. They're like, no, it really wasn't. You literally just needed to stand up. But I don't remember. I remember it being deep, and I remember being like, I'm drowning. So that was my first memory. And I don't know how deep it was, but it
Probably
seemed
like
deep.
3 feet, maybe. I don't. How tall are 4-year-olds? I don't know.
But
Do you?
I feel like when you're panicking, all the
Yeah.
logic goes out.
And you're a
But
kid. You don't. You're 3. You don't have a lot of logic.
no.
Or 4, however old.
But it's funny because I saw it. You've probably seen it too. It was like a YouTube video of the little boy who's like crying and holding on to this. It's like a rope.
Yeah.
And he literally just thinks, and I was like, that was me.
Actual footage of Iman drowning.
So that was my first memory. Yeah.
Justin LA, that Instagram, Justin LA, I'll send it to you, but he had a little thing on there. It was like, your childhood wasn't lit unless you almost drowned. And I was like, I almost drowned before. So your childhood was lit. That's all it means.
I mean, apparently.
Like, hello. Yeah, I almost drowned too. So I know how you feel. But mine was for real. It wasn't any what is that called?
Mine was for real in the moment.
But I could have, no, you probably weren't gonna really drown. I was gonna really drown. I was like in the 6 feet.
No.
It was not.
Don't take away from my experience. Okay, Selena, I almost drowned.
Okay. You're the one who told me that it was shallow water, and you.
That's what they said. I don't know. I don't remember. In my head, it felt like 6 feet, and that's all that matters.
Okay. Yep.
Moving on.
I'm glad you made it.
I did.
Out of your 3 feet of water.
I'm good.
I'm glad you made it out of your 3 feet.
Okay. What was your biggest failure, and what did you learn?
I don't know. I would say probably moving to LA. So I'm glad I moved there, and I learned a lot, and I have a lot of cool stories. I met a lot of amazing people. I don't know, I don't regret it, but it was a huge failure. What I learned from it was what they say, like, wherever you go, there you are. So you can't change locations and be somebody else. I mean, inside, you're still yourself. You're gonna still have all your same problems because you're you. Like, I thought when I moved to LA, I was young and stupid. This was more than 10 years ago now. Well, probably around 10 years. Excuse me. And yeah, I just was delusional. And so I learned like, mentors are important, guidance is important, and action is important. Like you can't just, and I know that sounds obvious, but I was very like, oh, wait for a sign, I'm gonna manifest stuff. Not in your apartment and you never leave. Like you have to like take action.
Mhm.
And I don't know, not try to fit in. I learned, so like I was trying to fit in and trying to be somebody else.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I think the biggest thing I learned was cancel pity parties and take action. Does
Yeah.
that make sense? And to know when you move somewhere, it's not going to be magic. Well, that wasn't
Mhm.
my experience. Like there's growing pains and you're still you. Like I don't care how far you move.
Mhm.
Like,
Very true. Very true.
so yeah, I think so. I'll think about the rest of my failures after this recording.
Well, I'm glad that you did, even though you see it as a failure. I'm glad you moved to LA because that's how we met in
Yes,
LA.
I don't regret moving there. I just yeah, it was a failure though. It was it was not a success at all.
It's fair. It's fair.
What about you?
I don't know. I'd probably say my biggest failure was, and I've talked to you about this, was in undergrad when I was so I was pre-vet. I went to be a veterinarian and just really struggled with a lot of the chemistry, like a lot of the classes, and even struggled with some of the things like in vet school, you have to do a lot of work with live animals. And regardless of if your procedure was successful, you still have to euthanize at the end because you're not a veterinarian. So there's a lot of like struggles I had with morally, like, how do I feel about this? But I had this idea of like, you're going to be a vet for since I was like 9 years old. So I just kept holding on to that idea of what I needed to be or what I was trying to be, despite everything else saying, like, Iman, this isn't really your path. This isn't what you want. So I think that was my biggest failure because I kept holding on and change majors my senior year. And I think, yeah, sometimes I just hold on to things, even though everything is telling me, nope, you need to let this go. You need to move on. And just a lot of wasted, I think, time and energy and money that went into that. Whereas I could have changed earlier on and been like, all right, this is the path I'm going, and not had to spend an extra year in school. So I think that was my biggest.
Yeah,
And what did I learn?
oh yeah, that's
No, what were you
important.
going
No, yeah, I think it was the same idea with my biggest failure. I think is like I spent too much time like trying to force it when it was
mm-hmm.
clear it wasn't a good fit for me. And I'm like, no, I have to make this work. And I wasted 6 years of my life. And that's a really long time.
Yeah.
Like was 6 years, you got some cool stories, you did some fun shit. Like you could have did it somewhere else. So like that's not worth it. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think for me, it was really appreciating and recognizing the journey. So now, like when I set goals, I'm trying to pay attention to the journey and like how much I'm enjoying getting to that goal. Whereas before, it was just like, nope, this is my goal. I need to reach it regardless. Whereas now, I think I'm a lot more in tune with, wait, but this isn't making me happy. Maybe this isn't what I need to do. Um, and I've learned to let go of things a lot sooner. As soon as I get a few signs that this isn't for me, I'm like, nah, let's go in a different direction.
me too. And that was that was a takeaway too. Like, okay, pay attention. What's happening
Mm,
right now?
yeah.
Is the like not to be all hippy dippy, but if is the universe give like, girl, this is not you trying to put a peg into a square. What is that? peg into a circle into a square hole, whatever. You're trying to make something fit
Mhm.
that doesn't fit. And it's
Yeah.
just, yeah. And now it's like, even reaching your goal might be hard, it might be difficult, maybe a lot of work, but there's not all this pushback, like this is wrong. This is,
Mhm. Yeah.
does that make sense?
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Sure.
All right, that made me sad. I'd like to move on.
Well, we learned and we grew from those experiences. So,
I don't like that. I still need therapy over that. Like, I still wrestle with that, like,
mm,
that it didn't work. And Iman and I are working on our website, and will be one of the posts, because her and I wrote articles about that. Yeah.
mhm.
I don't know. I need to like get over it. I'm not over it.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna take time. It took me a while to, even after I graduated, I still was like, should I have gone back and pursued this dream? And it took me a while to let go completely. So
LA is like my unrequited love. Like, it didn't love me back. I have many poems about that place. Many, many. I have more poems about LA than I do about any relationship I've ever been in.
okay. You'll
The
have
next,
to share one day.
okay, you can hear my sadness. Um, our next two questions we have are not fun. I need something super fun after that. Okay. Um, so describe yourself as a child. This is very broad. I guess whatever age you want.
I don't know. My head goes to like elementary.
Me too.
Like, yeah. So I was shy. I was a shy child with new people. But I was also I feel like I'm very similar to how I was as a child, but not as shy. Like I'm more outspoken but I was a goofball. I was really goofy. And I was a tomboy. So I would like to hang out with like my brother and my male cousins and I don't know, just um, be out and about, like be outside. I did do Barbies for a little bit, but I feel like I grew out of that and I was like, no, I need to be outside doing something physical. But I have always loved animals, as you know. So where I lived in upstate New York, we had like the woods. So I would go to the woods and I would find injured animals and bring them home and try to nurse them back to health. And I would like sneak them in, and my mom would like find all these shoe boxes with random animals in them. So it's a bit of a weird child, but I
Sounds
think
like a,
that's where the whole like vet medicine came in, where I was like, oh, I want to do this for life.
well,
Um,
one, that sounds like it stinks. And number two,
I would take care of them though, and I would clean them.
things stink. And dead things definitely stink. Even
No,
flowers.
they
Have you
never
smelled dead
die.
flowers? They reek.
They do. But in my defense, they never die. They always would survive, but we would end up having to like take them to the vet.
Yeah. I've heard of other children doing that. So I don't think that's that strange. I've heard of that.
No,
Um, but
yeah.
yeah, no, it sounds like a good time, I guess. Whatever.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like not much has changed other than me being, I think I'm obviously more secure in who I am and I'm not as fearful. Like when I was younger, I was afraid of a lot of stuff.
So you
Um,
still go outside and get animals that are sick and bring them home and try to
um,
nurture.
I, girl, I haven't told you my story of the pit bull.
Wait, when was this though? Because it sounds like you used to do it a lot.
Uh, well, in LA, so here you don't see stray animals. In LA, especially like some of the communities I worked with, I'd see stray dogs all the time. And yes, I would try to stop and pick them up.
But
But
you don't see sick birds out there, a sick alligator. I don't, there's no
no,
sick birds.
no, girl, they're really good with taking care of their animals out here.
I feel like you're slacking because I know you can find a sick animal
I'm gonna
somewhere.
go find a bird and injure it and be like, I'm gonna nurse you back to health.
I just feel like you just gave up and you're being the animal
No,
world needs you.
it's funny. Like last week, actually, I was driving with one of my coworkers, and I saw a dog, and I was like, "Ooh, there's a stray dog!" And then we pulled over, and he definitely had an owner in front of him. I was like, "Oh, all right."
Um,
No.
well, me and Iman were she came to visit me when I lived in DC, and this like I don't know, a bird or duck or something, like a baby duck got out the water somehow away from its mom, and I was trying to help a little bit, but I was like, no, they gangster, I'm not messing with them. And so Iman kept, the little duck was running around the like side of the like river, like water. It was in like the cement kind of thing, and it was like ee, ee, ee. And Iman tried to touch that thing. The mom flew out the water. It was like, rah, rah, rah. So we left it alone. We left. We went
I
on and
forgot
left.
about that.
But
Yeah, I mean, I tried though. I did try.
what was sweet though was like a lot of people seemed very concerned about this. Was it a duck?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a
Yeah.
duck. A lot of people seemed very concerned. Like there was a, what is it called when there's people watching there's
It's
a
like a
word for
crowd,
it.
small crowd.
A small crowd, yeah. And a few people were like trying to come over, and then they saw that gangster mom. I was like, no, we're
She's
gonna head
like,
out.
leave my babies alone.
We will
Please.
figure it out. Don't put your little nasty human hands on my baby. That was fun.
What about you? What were you? I feel like I already know how you were as a child, but
That's
how were
rude,
you?
but you
Well, because we've talked about it.
no, you don't know. You think you
Okay.
know, but you have no idea. Remember how they used to say that on that making the diary show on
Mhm.
TV with the yeah.
Yeah.
Um that used to be my little show. I was a weirdo. That's number one. I was an only child and we moved a lot. So I didn't have any friends. So it made me extra weird. And I was no, that's I was really fat um and I used to just sit in my room and look out the window and write and play with my stuffed animal. I told you I would perform for my stuffed animals. Like I would stand on my toy box and perform. That was a regular thing. That was almost every day. And just imagine how my life would be. I was very like, what is that, introspective? Like I was like a deep thinker, I
Mhm.
swear, like 5 years old, staring out the window and like, oh, what's life gonna be like? Just super
Aw.
intense. Um, but I didn't have anybody to talk to. So I was in the room writing and looking out the window and thinking. And I remember I wanted to smoke cigarettes. So I used to get those little candy cigarettes and like pretend I was
Mhm.
smoking those by myself. I don't know. Yeah, I wasn't shy. I wasn't shy, but yeah, I don't know, but just a very strange person. I don't know how else to
That's
describe it.
strange though. It sounds like you were like you had a vivid imagination.
And yeah, but I was like, what little kid is like thinking all deep about their life? Like,
Yeah, I wasn't
it's
thinking of that.
so weird. It's,
You were
um,
probably a mature. Were you like a mature kid for your age?
I don't know. I would have to ask my family. I don't know if I was mature. I don't know. I don't remember what they used to say. Just that I talked too much, which was rude. I was a child with no friends. Who the hell else was I going to talk to? Um, but yeah, it was just like when I think back on it, I'm just like I was so intense, like
Mhm.
writing poems. I remember I wrote my first poem at like 7. Like, what are you doing? I told you I found that Nikki Giovanni book. So then
Mhm.
I'm writing poems at 7. I didn't know they were poems. Um, just I don't know. All right.
All right. If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be?
I'm not going first again. If you
No,
could
you
change
went.
one thing about yourself, what would it be?
Oh gosh. I think one thing I could change. I think how I handle conflict, which is good because I'm like, that's something that I can actually work on. But I don't like conflict. So a lot of times when there is conflict, when I mean conflict in the sense of like, okay, we are like neither one of us is being heard or listened to. I just shut down and I'm just like, all right, I'm not going to have this conversation. But I think that it's a good skill. Like even at work, I've seen people in conflict in the way that some certain people handle it. I'm like, oh, that's like, I love how they handled that where it didn't escalate, but then they still got to get their point across. So I
Mhm.
think, yeah, how I handle conflict would probably be like handling conflict better. And I didn't really see people in my life handling conflict. I think part of it's because I was shielded from it. So like when there were arguments or stuff like that, I didn't see how they got to the resolution. I think that would be the number one
What
thing.
do you think it takes?
Mm, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I'm still figuring that out. I
Yeah.
think part of it is like listening. And I know with me, when I feel like I'm not being heard, I will completely shut off. I'm like, all right, like, but I need to be able to be like, to get past that and not just shut down because then it doesn't get handled or resolved. But
Yeah.
my cookie is just like, all right, I'm not being heard. I'm not having this conversation,
Yeah.
which isn't
Everybody
very
still
healthy.
walks away feeling like they felt when they came to
Mm-hmm.
when we shut down. Yeah. I'm reading this book. It's one of Brene Brown's books. She's pretty popular. And she was talking about a little bit about conflict. And it's so funny today I was reading about it and she was saying like you have to be vulnerable but with boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I'll send you the book.
I think, yes, send it. I think too, one of the things, because I try, not to say I'm perfect, but I do try really hard to hear people out. So I
Yeah.
think when I don't get the same in return, I'm kind of like, oh, well, it's not being reciprocated. So I'm just going to leave the
Yeah.
situation.
Um, no, and I would I I think that's normal. Like you said, we want to be heard. And if we're not, who the hell wants to deal
Mm-hmm.
with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good luck. I wish I had.
Thanks. It's going to go around starting arguments. Like, I need to handle this. What the hell, Iman? Um,
I have to learn. I'm
I
sure
like
there's
work. Huh?
no, I was like, there's so much information out there. I know you can find a way.
Yeah, and I have read up on it, but it's back to that action piece where I'm just like, oh, I know what I should do, but when it actually comes up, do I do that? Usually not.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, yeah, I think there's always room for improvement in that area because it's
Mhm.
easy to get defensive. It's easy to feel attacked. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it takes a lot of maturity, I think, for someone to be like, to hear you and be like, in that moment and say, I am wrong. Like that takes a lot. I did it with you recently. I was like, damn, I am wrong.
Mhm.
It was, 10 years ago, Selena would have been like, no.
Yeah.
um, so yeah, I think that takes a lot, depending on the
Mhm.
person.
Yeah, I agree. What about you? What's something that you would change about yourself?
You know, I don't think I'm perfect, but I never thought about this. I think about things that I need to improve, but change. I think like not taking everything so seriously. Like everything's not the end of the world. girl, relax. Take it easy. Damn. You're stressing yourself out. It's okay.
Mhm.
I think that would change that because I am very like so I get over stuff. No, that's a lie too. I try to get over stuff quickly, but I'm within myself, I'm like, oh, this is the worst thing that's ever happened and it's never gonna get better. And then I have to like bring myself back. But I wish that didn't even happen because it's unnecessary. It's
Yeah.
like I think of everything like it's everything. Like if I don't do this today, my whole life will be ruined. It's like that's not how things work, ma'am. You need to
Mhm.
relax. So yeah, I would definitely like take a chill pill.
Yeah. That's a good good goal. But where do you think like, has it always been like that? Or do
Yes,
you
I told
think
you I was 5, reflecting, looking out the window, writing poems at 7. Yes.
okay.
It's like super intense. Just
Mhm.
take it easy. Like I wish I was like more carefree, more take it like it's okay to work like and really like not have to like have these pep talks all the time. Like
Yeah.
calm down. It's okay. Everything's
Yeah.
so dramatic and intense.
Mhm.
Ugh, it's
Yeah.
exhausting.
I feel like we're so like in that sense we're so opposite, but I'm like maybe that's why it works because we're like each other's balance. Whereas there's things that I'm just like I probably should care more about this or be more like impacted by it, but I'm just like so I feel like we balance each other out a little bit.
I don't care about balancing us out. I need to balance myself out. Okay.
I mean, you need to do that too. I agree.
I would change that. Okay. Like for sure. But I think as I get older, it's like I'll I'll give less fucks as the years go on. Well, every birthday, less less intense. I think it's
Well, there's work. We both have work to do. So that's what it's
none of
about.
this. These are all our questions, everybody, and none of this has been fun. This is super traumatic for me. And like, see, I just told you, this is too intense. There was no fun. Like, what would you do if you won $1 billion?
I mean, do you want to throw a fun one in since it
Yes,
wasn't
please.
fun for
Let's end on
you?
a high note.
I'll let you decide on
No,
that.
you pick one. I'm still stressed out about all my answers.
Because what's fun to me, like I found this fun for me. So
I need a drink after this, and I was like, I'm not drinking this week. You'll like this one. If animals could talk, which would be the rudest?
the rudest, probably birds. They just seem like they have an attitude.
You know,
Like
I
with
didn't
their
think about that. They do. And they be like whooping on you and stuff. They are
they got
so
like
rude.
the neck movements when they walk, like girl.
Yeah, that's true. And they like,
And they're how like at least the ones out here, they're just loud for no reason.
these out here like that too. I don't
Mm,
like them.
like, yeah. What do you
I
think?
don't know. I don't know. Um, I really don't know. Which animals it would like are monkeys mean? Like a chimpanzee? Like
Mm.
they seem a little sad. I don't know. All the animals that be killing us, like
I
bears,
mean,
alligators, shark. I don't know a lot about animals. I only know the popular animals, but like everybody knows about. I only know the lit animals. I don't know those like obscure animals. I don't know them. And um, so yeah, I think I don't know enough to know, but I think all the ones that eat us, they'd be like, Get out of my way, I eat you.
Because we're in their environment, we're like threatening them.
But sometimes they're just hungry.
But we're in their environment. Otherwise, we wouldn't get eaten.
Well, it's the way it is. Like, they're building stuff on top of everything. What are we gonna do? Like, there's nothing we can do. And sometimes the shark come up. When I was in Miami one time, the shark were all the way up front, and that's not our fault. We're at the shore. You brought your little killer self up here. We were minding our business, and this guy got attacked. He had to get taken to the hospital. I was like, oh, you know, we are the biggest gentrifiers, humans, because we like, my friend was a cookout and they were outside, had the candles, the killer bird, and spraying all the stuff. I was like, we're outside though. Like, where can they go?
Yeah.
We gentrified their neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true.
So, like my thing. Anyway, luckily they can't talk, and I try to stay away from the wilderness so I don't get attacked.
It's good. It's good method.
All right. Well, do you have anything else for this episode?
No.
All right, we're gonna close out.
So you learned a little bit about Selena and I, our childhood traumas.
Too much. This was not a fun episode.
So thank you, listeners. Of course, we could not do this without you. Remember to hit like, comment, share this episode, leave a review, your feedback. And remember to subscribe at U Plus Happy Podcast. And you can also follow us on Instagram at U Plus Happy.
We'll see you next week, same time, same place. And remember, we'll show you our definition of success if you show us yours.